It is quite clear that none of these NTSB investigations cannot be trusted anymore if they have not my approval, because the NTSB clearly provides government decision makers and airlines with these false statements with which the truth of these plane crashes is covered up and only lies are shown to the people. It is difficult for me to say whether all these bystander victims are simply that Zhu Weiming has angered someone in high office, and were these bystanders just a collateral victims along with Zhu Weiming, which is used only to gather more hate upon framed suicide pilot Zhu Weiming, who actually is the real hero pilot of Singapore. But Weiming has been framed as the suicide pilot of this plane accident and not Duncan Ward, who is the real suicide pilot, and which the NTSB has used all of its credibility that it has gained all these years to hide the fact that Duncan Ward is the real suicide pilot. The credibility of NTSB, which is completely gone after this case when it has caught up on lying, tempering the evidence and framing a good pilot as guilty of this suicide flight. The credibility of NTSB, which is like a warm breath of old shit you don't want to smell. Because the fact that Duncan Ward committed this suicide is used so much effort and false statement, and not, for example, are not told the truth, like in the case of Germanwings pilot Andreas Lubitz, clearly indicates something personal against Zhu Weiming. Why Zhu Weiming was staged as a suicide pilot has remained somewhat unclear, and whether all these bystander victims were just collateral victims that SilkAir and the Indonesian government used to tarnishing Zhu Weiming's reputation, because in this SilkAir accident, the anger is not directly directed to mental health problems like in many other similar accidents, but rather this mental health problem is kept hidden and the blame is tried to scroll on the desperate pilot's last action, and which is tried to offer as a reason in this case, all of which are so incredible in the case of Zhu Weiming that this kind of crap, brain farts and bullshit can't come from anywhere else than the bullshit investigators of NTSB and some desperate people who just want to tarnish Zhu Weiming's reputation. It is quite clear that these fucking brats who drive these airplanes into the ground like Andreas Lubitz and Duncan Ward are not the main perpetrators of these mass murders, but these suicide candidates are only acting in the name of democratic state decision makers, with the help of which democratic states are driving up the persecution of Jews in the 21st century, which runs in this time a different name. Citizens suffering from mental health problems, and who are in this time even more hatred than the Jews in Nazi Germany in the 40s, and why their medical tortures on the Finnish National Coalition's human rat farms are possible, where these Nazi German medical torture methods and crimes against humanity are peddled as treatments for medically non-existent and imaginary diseases, is certainly something that Nazi Germany did not achieve in all its haste. But it is clear that Singapore hero pilot Zhu Weiming carried something very rare, the spirit of the world's biggest woman who ever walked on this planet or any other, where Elon Musk sent his rockets, Sophie Scholl and White Rose, and who now lifts Zhu Weiming's reputation from the role of suicide pilot and gives him what all the people who carries Sophie Scholl's spirit deserve, which is mainly respect.